Yeah, so every truth is a pearl. It's a pearl from God given to you. And then you have a choice of showing somebody that pearl. Hey, kitty. Letting them examine it. Or you can keep it for yourself. So, if you recall the Leonardo da Pipsqueak video I put up, I reposted about the painting, The Last Supper, and how I took it and all I did was just flipped it onto itself, and I spun it, and then the imagery that you see is created by that painting, not by me. It just is what it is. So then, but what you see a pearl going down a long hallway, like a temple hallway. That temple being the mind, meaning letting you know or letting you into an understanding, right? Now you can play with words about understanding, overstanding, whatever. You understand God. God is true. If you cannot even bow to the truth of God, then what is the point? Because you have anointed yourself above, and thus you have become your own God. And a lot of people then take that even farther and they become an active antichrist, meaning they go against Jesus Christ by name and with venom. They deny that through the grace of Christ that you are given the true light, meaning the true knowledge of God, freely given, freely received. And yeah, you then have to do the work to examine it, and it takes time. But you know, what else are you going to do? What else are you doing? Wasting day after day looking at the latest hoax as if it's gonna change. It's not. It's an echo of a system. The system is the lie, the prince of the air, the Satan, the tear. It is the lie, it's the tone, it's the fallen light of the world which most follow with reckless abandon. Now, I told you that system right there has base code because creation itself has code. However, the code that is given to you through entertainment, and that includes everything. That includes so-called news and movies and radio and books and all that. It's entertaining you away from the truth of God. It's giving you that truth, and that's a reflection of the truth. So it's the lie. It is the tear. All right. That's why it's so attractive. See, because it's got everything. It can offer you the entire world, and all you have to do is get on your knees to it. Right? Or you can accept the truth of Christ is that it's to humble yourself to servitude of mankind. That's your lot in life. All right? So you're here to put out that truth of Christ. That there is while you are waiting, while you are here, you can put out that truth. You are given the Comforter. You are brought into all knowledge. Let me explain this to you. There is no price to be put on this because this is spiritual truth as well as physical manifestation of vision or witness. This is everything. So then when you show that truth, let's say, for example, for the plane, right, that it has deviations called depth and elevation. That is a truth because it can be verified and tested regardless of you. Had nobody noticed, that would have been the case, because that is the truth of the matter. All right? So I wanted to go in and show you that the system that we deal with, we have to deal with a system of numbers. Absolutely everything you do, everything that ever happens, can be reduced to a series of numbers. Now, I shouldn't have to explain that to you. What time did you get up? What time did you go to sleep? How fast did you get to work? What time are you going to bed? All the way down to how many chairs in your house, blah, blah, blah. Everything's a number. So when you understand that, you have the system. Now, with this system, it's important to take a look. It's just 1 through 9 that 0's important. And I'll tell you why. Because you're going to turn that on if you concern yourself with the story that you hear. All right? So the system happens to where if you see an idea, you're a 1 or a 0. Do you want to go look at it? Let's say a 9/11 happens, or a Sandy Hook happens, or a Pearl Harbor happens, or this story or that story, or another, bus full of, little whatevers. All of that is that right there, that 0, 1. Are you going to fall for it? All right. If you do, you're gonna go into, you are then the 23, the idea of death, or the man going into the lie. The 9 is the remember the Vietnam snore? That story was a Tet. Remember, it had a story of the Tet offensive. That is more, it like the 7 is the idea of the Zion, or the mind, the idea of accepting it into your mind. But the Tet is the mind made up, meaning that you have created that idol and you have set it in place. All right. So then looking at the next into this, although you always reduce down to the single digits, so you go with 13, which is always the understanding of the crown, into the 4 idea, or into the door. Now you have walked into that door, the 89 or the 86 system, the fallen over system, the idea of 17, always reduced down to 8, or the idea of the loop, or snake eating its tail, right? Sorry, my voice is a little bit rough, but yeah. So that's basically it. That's the mind computer. I call it that. I call it 7 code. The idea of the 21, the 777, the blackjack. The idea of word association, meaning like not only 21 blackjack like in cards, but it's also the thing that slaps you in the back of the head and knocks you out. That's what these stories mean to do. They mean to put you to sleep, because absolutely every second you spend in there is in death, which I just showed you here. Right? You went into death willingly, and you died once again for a world which you claim is a hoax. Right? There's also the idea of following after false teachers who have offered you nothing real. They have offered you echoes of what they heard, but they have offered you no fresh meat, no fresh fruit to take and to consume and then to verify. Because if you do not consume it, you cannot understand it. And if you cannot understand it completely, then how can you test it? And at that point, once you have tested it, if it is a truth, so be it, because it is of God. But if it is a lie, so be it. Toss it. It's garbage. It's man's rubbish. And after you do that so many times, you just say, okay, enough's enough. Let me move to the next step. Because this stuff is the easy stuff. And now there's nothing hard from this point on. It's just a lot more interesting. Let's just put it that way. All right? So, but until there's a willingness and a readiness, you just won't be able to see it. It's just like if you know it, you can see it, and there's no thinking about it. It's just instantaneous. If you look at that from now on, you should be able to tell me what I just told you. You then apply that to what happens to you in your reality, your existence in this place. While you're supposed to be spreading the light of Christ, by the way, and not bothering with the world and worrying about who's being elected to what, because it's all a hoax. It don't matter anyway. Or worried about dying every 20 seconds from this, that, or the other disease. Who cares? You're going to go when you go, and that's your time. But while you're busy dying, there was a lot of living that you missed. All right. So that's why when you come back into this world, it hurts. Because I don't want to have to come talk about this all the time. Because I already know this. Right? I'm showing you. So if you get distracted and go this way or that way, that's fine. But I'm just showing you this pearl. And again, go back to that video. Leonardo da Pipsqueak, and watch as that pearl goes down that temple hallway and leads into the truth that is a Masonic hoax, rubbish painting, because you see the so-called Star of David waving at you, consuming you, taking you into the six. All right? So the six is water. You walk on water. You don't swim in it. All right? Spiritually speaking, I love swimming at the beach, you know. So anyways, guys, man, sorry to get... I'm just a little bit disappointed at what I've seen over the last few days. And I just thought that those that claim to know Christ, who are saved through Jesus Christ, I thought you knew him. I thought that the true Spirit, the Comforter, was given to you, and you were brought into all knowledge. Because I could recognize you, and you would recognize me. And there should be no contention. You know? Just brotherly love in the true sense of those words. Love meaning that I will not lie to you about this stuff right here. Because this is going to save your life. And if you share that with someone, this saves their life. Because they realize that through Christ alone, they are brought out of this lie-filled world and brought into true life. And Father in heaven, we do what we can until you call me home. That's all I can say. All right, cheers. Have a good one.